Be black. Black is beautiful. I've always celebrated the woman.
Why is everyone talking about Queen Latifah right now? At 54, she has finally confirmed something that many people feared. What did she say? Fans have loved her for years, from her music to her acting. Hey, the thought did cross my mind, but I would never play you out like that for some money. But now, shocking news has come out. Is this about her health, career, or personal life? People are worried. What does this mean for her future? Let's find out the truth. Latifah had a tough childhood. She was just bubbly, full of smiles, dimples, lovable, huggable, very, very bright. Growing up, Queen Latifah had a tough childhood. She was raised in New Jersey in a neighborhood where many families struggled to afford basic needs. Money was always tight, and life was not easy. She also saw how poverty could trap people, making it hard for them to escape tough situations. Latifah's father, Lancelot Owens, was a Vietnam War veteran, and like many soldiers who fought in that war, he had a hard time after returning home. He saw terrible things during the war, and it affected his mental health. Many black soldiers were treated unfairly in the military, and life after the war was even harder for them. Sadly, Latifah's father turned to drugs as a way to cope with his pain. This made life even more difficult for their family. When we were going through things, look, help me out, turn off those lights. Money is kind of tight. I'm working this extra job, Do me a favor and straighten up the house so it's, clean when I come home. So we kind of pitched in, and that made us tighter. Because of his struggles, he was not always able to support his family. Latifah has said that there were times when they really needed him, but he was not there to help. The war changed him, and it was hard for him to be the father she needed. Even though he went through tough times, he eventually fought his way back. He was able to overcome his addiction, but the damage had already been done to the family. When Latifah was just 8 years old, her parents divorced. She has said that the war played a big part in why her parents' marriage ended. Her father had been a strong, tough man before, but after Vietnam, things were different. The war had changed him, and it hurt their family. After the divorce, Latifah and her brother were raised by their mother, Rita Owens. Growing up was good for me. I mean, especially the initial years of my life, I had the model nuclear family, mother, father, brother, sister, dog, Being a single mother was not easy for Rita. She had to work 2 jobs just to make sure her children had what they needed. At first, she struggled to balance taking care of her kids and working long hours, but she never gave up. She worked hard to give Latifah and her brother a good life. She later became a high school teacher, which helped her provide more stability for the family. Rita wanted her kids to have a good education, so she put them in Catholic school. Even though it was expensive, she believed that a better education would give them more opportunities in life. I was a tomboy. The rapper was abused as a child. I was always outside playing, always. That was life for me, really. When Queen Latifah was a child, she was molested by a teenage babysitter. He violated me, she told Essence. I never told anybody. I just buried it as deeply as I could and kept people at an arm's distance. I never really let a person get too close to me. I could have been married years ago, but I had a commitment issue. In a Larry King live interview on CNN, she revealed that she was just 5 years old when the abuse occurred. As is common with survivors of child sexual abuse, Latifah was scared to tell her parents about what happened and thus kept it a secret until adulthood. She explained that the abuser was known to the family. And I was scared to tell my father because I'm like, my father's going to kill him, And I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I had to, she revealed. I had to, let them know what I had gone through so that they could understand maybe more of my mindset and freed myself of that burden. At the age of 22, Latifah was able to tell her parents. My mother felt terrible. When I told my dad, he said nothing, she revealed to Essence. On reflection, Latifah told the outlet that she now realized why her dad remained silent upon hearing the news. "He's a man of action," she said. She faced bullying at school. "I was being called at work every week." She took it real hard, and she wasn't able to really vocalize it until later. Also, as a child, she and her brother faced bullying at school. Latifah was a big girl, and that made her a target. She remembered how she and her brother kept their struggles to themselves. They didn't always tell their parents or teachers. Instead, they tried to deal with it alone, but sometimes things got out of control. When kids face bullying and don't speak up, it can feel like they are carrying a heavy weight. One of the biggest things Latifah was teased about was her body shape. She was always taller and bigger than most of the girls in her class. As a teenager, she felt self-conscious about her body, especially her breasts. She thought they were too big, and this made her uncomfortable. But everything changed when she was about 18 or 19. She met someone who loved and admired her body just the way it was. This person always told her how beautiful she was. Hearing those words made her feel better about herself. It helped her accept her body and feel more confident. Sometimes all it takes is one person to remind us that we are enough just as we are. Even as she became an adult and a famous actress, people still judged her for her body. The entertainment industry has always had strict ideas about beauty. Many times, people told her she needed to lose weight for acting roles. This was frustrating for her. She remembered working on the TV show Living Single when someone told the cast they needed to lose weight. This made her upset. She believed that she and the other women on the show looked like real women. They were not going to change their bodies just to fit someone else's idea of beauty. She wanted to show that women come in all shapes and sizes, and all of them deserve to be seen and respected. Loss of her brother, Lancelot Jr. When I got the page about my brother being in the hospital, I felt it. I knew it. Something told me this is not the same. But body negativity was not the only struggle in her life. The hardest moment for Latifah came when she lost her older brother, Lancelot Owens Jr. He was a police officer, and he died in a motorcycle accident when he was only 23. This was a heartbreaking time for her. What made it even harder was that she had bought him the motorcycle he was riding when he crashed. She felt deep sadness and even anger. She was mad at God for taking her brother away. It did not seem fair. This tragedy just made everything look black. The house wasn't important. The show was no longer as important. Her career was no longer as important. Nothing was more important than family and loved ones. Losing her brother left a hole in her heart. She never truly got over it. He was her best friend, and she missed him every day. Even though she became more successful in her career, she often felt that her happiness was incomplete. She thought, what is the point of all this success if the person I love the most is not here to see it? But over time, she found strength. She knew her brother would want her to keep going and to live her life fully. Latifah grew up in a strong family. They taught her to fight through tough times. When she was grieving, she felt weak, like she had lost all her strength. But she believed her brother was watching over her like an angel. She also felt the love and prayers of others, and that helped her heal. I can still see the hurt when she comes home. But her struggles didn't stop there. In 1995, Queen Latifah went through another traumatic experience. She was with her boyfriend and her friend in her car when two armed men attacked them. The men had guns and wanted to steal her car. During the attack, one of the men shot her boyfriend and bodyguard, Sean, in the stomach. It was a terrifying moment, and Sean was badly injured. Instead of panicking, Queen Latifah acted quickly. She managed to get a cab and rush Sean to the hospital. Doctors later said that her quick thinking helped save his life. Even though she was a victim of a violent crime, she stayed calm and focused on helping Sean. Her bravery was praised by many people. Later in court, Queen Latifah gave a tearful testimony about what happened that night. She remembered seeing the shooter clearly and was able to identify him. Thanks to her statement, the man responsible was sent to prison for 18 years. It was a difficult time for her, but she stood strong and fought for justice. She became very aggressive and very defiant, and I was being called at work every week. When she was young, Queen Latifah made some mistakes that got her into trouble. As a teenager, she tried selling drugs a few times just to see if she could do it. She later admitted that it was not the right thing to do. She also revealed that when she was 16 years old, she was paid $50 to sleep with a 40-year-old man. This was a painful experience, but she did not let it stop her from moving forward in life. In 1996, Queen Latifah was arrested for having a loaded gun and marijuana in her car. The police found the weapon and drugs during a traffic stop. She was not charged for having marijuana, but she had to pay a fine of $810 for driving without a license and carrying a loaded gun. Later, she explained why she had the gun, saying that she felt she needed protection. At that time, many rappers and celebrities faced danger, and she wanted to make sure she was safe. Around the same time, her friend Tupac Shakur was murdered, which made her realize how dangerous the industry could be. She spoke about his death and called it a tragedy, not just for the black community but for everyone. She knew that Tupac had a big impact on people, and his loss was felt worldwide. Rap star Tupac Shakur died last night after a brief life in a rough business. He was 25. Later, in 2002, she was arrested again, this time for reckless driving. She was caught driving under the influence of alcohol but was able to avoid a DUI charge by pleading no contest. After this arrest, she realized she needed to change her behavior. She admitted that she had been drinking but was not completely impaired. However, she understood that driving in that state was irresponsible. This moment made her take a step back and think about her actions. She decided it was time to get her life together and stop making bad choices. She said she had no problem correcting herself when she knew she was in the wrong. Yeah, there's going to be some changes. Even as she worked to improve her life, Latifah faced discrimination because of her race and gender. She learned early on that she had to work harder than white people and harder than men to get ahead. The music industry, especially hip-hop, was dominated by men who did not always respect female rappers. Many male rappers believed that they had to fill their songs with violent and offensive lyrics to sell records. Queen, however, took a different approach. She focused on making music that empowered women and sent positive messages. Over time, even male rappers who once doubted her began to respect her work. She believed that music could be used to make a difference in the world, and she proved it through her songs. Besides facing sexism in the industry, she also dealt with racism in everyday life. Even though she became rich and famous, she still experienced discrimination. She once said that racism was something she faced daily. No matter how much success she achieved, she could not escape it. She shared a story about how taxi drivers would ignore her and pick up white passengers instead, even when she was the one waiting first. This made her realize that despite her achievements, some people would always judge her based on the color of her skin. She spoke out about these issues, hoping that things would change for the better. Life to me is God, you know? I mean, at the end of the day, I have a relationship with God. I've always had a relationship with God since I was a little kid. Latifah faced deep sadness, turned to alcohol, and struggled with depression. Losing someone she loved changed her life completely. Her brother's death hit her hard. She once said that the last few years after he passed away were the hardest in her life. She felt like she was losing her mind. She couldn't connect with people around her and felt completely alone. The sadness took over her life, and she didn't know how to deal with it. To escape from the pain, she started drinking a lot. Alcohol became a way for her to forget her troubles, but it didn't help. She described feeling like a faded painting, as if her life had lost its bright colors. Even though she was drinking, she still felt empty inside. No matter how much she tried to cover her sadness, it was always there. She realized that she wasn't really living her life, she was just trying to survive. One day, she had a wake-up call. She felt like God was telling her to get her life together. This moment made her realize that she needed help. She started working on her mental health and slowly found her way out of depression. Faith helped her heal, and she became stronger. She learned how to deal with her emotions in a healthy way instead of turning to alcohol. After her recovery, Queen Latifah wanted to help others who were struggling with mental health. She started speaking openly about depression, especially for Black women. She knew that many women like her were suffering in silence. In the past, mental health was not taken seriously, especially in the Black community. People were told to be strong and keep their problems to themselves, but Queen wanted to change that. She encouraged women to talk about their feelings and take care of their mental health. She believed that physical and emotional health were connected and that taking care of the mind was just as important as taking care of the body. The tragic death of Queen Latifah's mother. I put together a little video that will help you understand how much you mean to everyone and help everyone else out here understand how much my mom means to me. One of the most important people in Queen Latifah's life was her mother, Rita. The two were very close, and she often described her mother as her best friend. She felt comfortable talking to her about anything. When her mother was diagnosed with heart failure and a rare disease called scleroderma, Queen Latifah took on the role of caregiver. At first, she was scared because she had never heard of the disease before. She did not know what to expect, but she was determined to help her mother in every way possible. Her mother had worked as a school teacher, but in 2004, she became too sick to continue working. Queen Latifah stepped in to take care of her. She made sure her mother was comfortable, cooked her healthy meals, and managed her medication. It was not easy, but she did everything she could to support her. She later talked about how difficult it was to be a caregiver. It required a lot of patience and strength, but she was happy to do it because she loved her mother. She's the most precious person in the world to me, and I'm blessed to have her love, her laughter, and her strength with me every day. Even though it was hard, she admired her mother's strength. She watched her go through many ups and downs, including hospital stays and difficult treatments, but her mother never lost her sense of humor. No matter how tough things got, she remained positive and strong. Queen Latifah was inspired by this and learned that some things in life are more important than money or fame. She realized that taking care of the people you love is what truly matters. Queen Latifah's mother, Rita Owens, passed away in 2018 at the age of 69 after suffering from health problems for many years. Latifah was heartbroken but shared the sad news with the world. She said, "It is with a heavy heart that I share the news my mother, Rita Owens, passed away today." She described her mother as a bright light who touched the lives of many people. Even though it was painful, Latifah knew her mother was finally at peace. Rita Owens had struggled with a heart condition for a long time. The illness that took her life was called scleroderma. Latifah explained that her mother had always been a healthy person, and this disease came out of nowhere. It was hard for Latifah to see her mother suffer, but she stayed by her side, making sure she had the best care. Losing her mother was one of the hardest things she had ever experienced, but she carried the lessons her mother taught her. She said that her mother's strength lived on through her. Whenever Latifah felt overwhelmed, she would call her mother. Her mother had a special way of making her feel calm no matter how bad things were. Even after her mother passed away, Latifah believed she was still with her. Besides dealing with personal loss, Queen Latifah has always been a voice for women. She has spoken out about important issues, including domestic violence. In 1993, she released a song called UNITY. The song was about women being treated with respect and not being abused. At the time, people didn't talk much about domestic violence, especially in hip-hop. Many women suffered in silence, afraid to speak out, but Latifah wanted to change that. She wanted women to feel strong and know that they deserve better. What many people didn't know was that Latifah wrote part of that song about someone close to her. She later revealed that she had a cousin who was in an abusive relationship. Her cousin's husband treated her badly for many years. It was painful for Latifah to see this happening. Her family helped her cousin escape, but Latifah knew that many women don't have that chance. She wished that domestic violence wasn't still a problem today, but she knew it was. Her feud with Foxy Brown. Some miss Queen Latifah and Foxy Brown had a big argument in 1996. It started when people said Queen Latifah's song Name Callan was talking about Foxy Brown. This song was part of the soundtrack for the movie Set It Off. Foxy Brown did not like this and started saying things about Queen Latifah. She even made comments about Queen Latifah's personal life in radio interviews. In 1998, Foxy Brown released a song called 10% Diss. In this song, she made fun of Queen Latifah and said she was jealous of her. She also made more comments about Latifah's personal life. Queen Latifah did not stay quiet. She made another song called Name Callan Part 2, where she insulted Foxy Brown. In the song, she said Foxy Brown only became famous because of her looks and that her rap skills were not very good. Brown was not done yet. She came back with another song called Talk to Me. In this song, she made fun of Queen Latifah's talk show, saying it was not popular. She also made rude comments about Queen Latifah and another rapper, Queen Pen. The argument did not stop there. Queen Pen got involved because she did not like Foxy Brown's 10% Diss song. One time, she even tried to physically fight Foxy Brown in a hotel lobby. People had to break up the fight. Later, in 2001, Queen Pen made a song called I Got Cha, where she insulted Foxy Brown again. She called her names and said she was fake. But after some time, this argument also ended. By 2006, Queen Pen and Foxy Brown made peace at a hip-hop event hosted by Russell Simmons. The loss of her dear friend. One of the first places I got to run into you, and I was like, Mike, what's going on? You were dancing, yes, so that was like the first. We're out of the clubs now. We have a purpose in life, a job. As if that was not enough sadness for 1 year, Queen Latifah also lost one of her closest friends around the same time. That friend was Michael K. Williams, a talented actor known for his role in the TV show The Wire. They had been friends for a long time, and he always spoke highly of her. He once said that she was the first person to inspire him and that she played a big role in helping him believe in himself. Their friendship started when Queen Latifah was just 16 years old. They supported each other through the years, and their bond was strong. When Michael appeared on her talk show, they shared memories and laughed together. He spoke about how strong and caring she was. Their friendship was full of love and respect. Sadly, Michael K. Williams passed away at the age of 54. His death was caused by a drug overdose, and it shocked many people.